Hello friends, this is probably a dork, and today we are doing something a little different than my typical videos. So I wanted to record myself this whole time. I do have my layout set up. I'm a little sad you're not going to get to see it, but it is what it is. Maybe I will do a little snippet at the end with the full spread and show you how it looks. I have my crown chakra candle lit, my solar plexus chakra candle lit, and my attraction candle lit. So things are hopefully manifesting, like your manifestations are in the works of coming true this next month, I guess. I figured we could do readings based month by month to see what you learned this past current month, whatever that is for you. Right now it's January, so we are in Aquarius season, but next month is February and it'll be Aquarius Pisces. And a lot of things tend to happen in February. I feel like a lot of thawing of old habits and even relationships, whether that be friendships, romantic, or work-related relationships, tend to dissolve and kind of fade away. I have a feeling that a lot of the winter months are kind of shifting. So whereas before it might have occurred towards November to like March, I feel like it's kind of going December, possibly January to April. I feel like winter is starting to oddly shift around, so this is a timeless reading as well. It could not be winter. If you are watching this in the future, let me know what month you're currently watching it in. Also, I'm sorry about my background. It's a little bit of a mess, but we make do with what we have. So I wrote down a couple things. I actually did some little noting before this reading. I don't normally do that. I usually go into my readings very spontaneously, which tends to work out, so I'm not super mad about it, but I figured we'd try to be a little bit more structured today. It is currently January 28th, 2026, and I wanted to ask, like I already said, what lessons are you learning next month and what you learned this month, because I've been going through it. I've been going through it. Life has been just turning upside down, and I feel like it chewed me up and spit me out and then left me there to dry. So maybe you feel the same way. I feel like a lot of people are going through a lot right now. I tried to look at the aspects, and maybe I didn't look at the larger aspects that are occurring right now. Pretty sure Chiron was doing something recently, which messed everything up. So I would feel called to look into that, maybe see what your Chiron placement is. I'm pretty sure mine is Capricorn, so I have a lot of parental issues to work through. We love that. 10 out of 10. Maybe you do as well, who knows, but I wanted to do your lessons in animal spirit card for this current month, how you're showing up right now, and then how you are going to be showing up next month. I wanted to get an angel guidance card. This is probably going to be after the reading, like with the tarot. I wanted to crack out the angel number oracle because it's just really sweet, and I feel like a lot of the times it confirms a lot of what I say in the readings. So I thought that would be a really gentle way of kind of wrapping up this lesson topic, because I feel like it might be really deep and kind of difficult, honestly, energy to sit in, because sometimes lessons suck and they're not fun, and they're certainly not fun to learn, especially if you are like me and tend to learn the very hard way. I mean, I guess it gets me ready for any other lessons coming, and I definitely won't make that mistake again, but sometimes you find out extra fun, if you will. So I also wanted to do an important crystal for you at this time. I feel really drawn to black tourmaline lately. Where is the camera? Yes, there she be. She is really good for just rejecting all negativity. This could be the evil eye. This could be people wishing ill onto you, which is basically the evil eye, or even spell work. So if you feel that there are some people in your life that could potentially be doing spell work on you, maybe they're very toxic and you cut them out and they don't like that, that could be a lesson you're learning. I would get some black tourmaline because it not only will keep your mindset positive, it can help reduce stress, keeping you calm and collected, and it, again, dispels all negativity and stops it from ever getting to you. So that could be really significant. I have a lot of my crystals out, including my celestite, which I got recently. I love her. She's so pretty. But I hope that she can help me communicate with our guides for us. So yeah, I'm very excited. Oh, and some other things. I don't know if I already said shadow self lessons, but I do want to use my dark mirror oracle and kind of see what lessons your shadow self would have for you right now opposed to your higher self. Just because when we're learning lessons, we are kind of advertently, I don't know if I'm using that word right, but tapping into our shadow self regardless, because you're learning something, triggers are coming up, and you're facing a truth maybe that you were either running from, denying, or just oblivious to, and it does trigger parts of us and bring up parts of us that maybe we need to be aware of. So I figured through all the lessons I've learned, I want to know what my shadow self is kind of saying to me right now, because there should be a balance between your light and shadow self. We are both of those attributes, and it isn't anything to be ashamed of for your shadow self, but maybe tap into it more and recognize these destructive patterns that you may have, especially in terms of relationships in any shape or form. And it's interesting that I say that because for the current moon phase is a waxing gibbous moon in Gemini in the 10th house. Intellectual status is what the 10th house said. This is all from Astro Matrix. I love that app. It's really, really good. But the lucky number today was number 7, frustration, which is quite interesting. So you could be feeling really frustrated about how things are turning out for you. Maybe you are in college or school and you just don't feel like you're smart enough, which you are very much so. I feel like you're very hard on yourself and you need to have a little bit more grace, because learning takes time, repetition, and discipline. And you have all of those, but I feel like it's almost to like a detrimental degree. So try to calm down if you can. Sorry, but speaking of which, we have Sun in Aquarius in the 6th house as well. So that was very interesting. For the Gemini moon and the 10th house, I wanted to write down some keywords that I noticed while reading about them. So I got truth, communication, inner voice, and community. And I feel like community is going to be really, really big as of now, basically. I feel like next month it's going to be a lot of community coming together and finally standing up to a lot of bigger issues. I feel like a lot of people, instead of the loneliness epidemic taking hold, we are now going into an era where we feel more together, or at least we're more encouraged through this harsh division, at least if you live in America. We're going to be more encouraged to kind of unite and realize that there are things going wrong and to come together as a collective. I mean, we are in the age of Aquarius. It will hopefully revamp things into a healthier direction. So I feel like community is really important. We have been kind of stuck in a cycle of isolation, of solitude, of loneliness, of closing off and doom scrolling. And I feel like we may be entering a new phase, especially with the new year coming in, where we start to really take that community to a different level, whatever this may be, whether you are a content creator yourself or you're just somebody who has a lot of friends, has a lot of people that you influence. Maybe in your job, you do a lot of aspects like this where you are influencing a community of people. This could even be in healthcare. Like you could just be a nurse, but you to a degree, like even if it may seem small, you are affecting the greater population around you. So that I found very interesting. Speaking your inner truth, throat chakra seems very significant. I actually almost bought a throat chakra candle, like my crown and solar plexus, the other day, but I ended up getting the root chakra instead because I was joking with my boss and we both realized that I probably don't need any more truth. I speak that very openly. So I need some grounding, but you may need some truth. You may need some help activating your throat chakra, speaking up, especially for what you believe in, and just honoring your boundaries, your truths, the things you found out about yourself along the way. This could be in terms of these lessons, like how these lessons have pushed you closer to finally acknowledging and accepting your inner truth. You could have had boundaries that were really pushed this past month, and things could have gotten very uncomfortable, which leads us into, I believe, our sun placement. Oh no, the sun was very small. I didn't do a lot for that. So it would be the moon, but this is the 10th house specifically. Throat chakra was really big for this one. Advancement through hard work and connecting in groups, professions. So how you show up in your professional world could be immensely significant this month, and just how you advance through your career, hard work, your dedication. This could be in school, even if it's not about career specifically, it is going to be about career. So that is kind of the reading breakdown. And then real quick, the Aquarius in the 6th house, we have serving others, discomfort, and accountability. So, oh, that's what it was. It was discomfort for the sun. So I feel like maybe there have been a lot of things that you've had to confront that you have been avoiding. This could be within yourself or just within a dynamic, a relationship in your life that could play a significant role for you. So I'm going to stop yapping because I just realized this intro is 11 minutes long, but hopefully you enjoyed. And if you don't resonate with anything that I've said so far, or obviously wait and see the cards, but if you choose, if you feel okay with that, I don't want to make you, but if you resonate with this, feel free to stay. But if this is something that you're not interested in, find another reading, and I wish you the best. So yeah, hopefully you do resonate with this and you want to know what lessons you've learned, because I think we all could use a little bit of that. Now, I left the guidebook in my attic, so I think I'm going to kind of try to go freehand, and then towards the end, if we have enough time and I didn't yap for an entire hour, I will grab the guidebook really quick and just kind of touch on what these really meant and see if it resonates and connects. So yeah, let's see. And I cleansed almost all of my decks this weekend. It took 2 hours and I didn't even get through them all. So yeah, brand new energy here. This could be a new collective. I don't know. Hopefully it's reaching the people it's meant to reach. So let's see. What is the current energy that you are showing up as, or this past month, how did you show up? What is the current and past energy? We have the wolf. Interesting. That's really been standing out to me a lot. So, I wonder if that's fire. I can't really tell. It could be earth. It might be earth, actually. I might have to go grab the guidebook, but let's see. What's your future energies? What's this next month's energy coming in? We have the starfish. So cute. Okay. I see a lot of yellows and oranges. So, oh, and gazelle. Interesting. That's for future, I guess. But we have a lot of, even in the gazelle, actually, we have a lot of orange and yellow. So sacral chakra and solar plexus chakra could be pretty significant for you right now. I think, yeah, they're so cute. I'm really excited. I think that this is going to be really good. I feel like maybe you've been really determined, and wolves are kind of in a collective energy too. They run in packs, and they do have a hierarchy to some degree, just to keep the leader in check and also be able to move forward as a group. So how you have been presenting yourself lately could come across like this, more in the terms that you've been really gathering a collective. So I feel like you could certainly be a creator in yourself, or even in your work, you could have a higher role where you are significant to some degree, and you do make some influence. I feel like influencing a collective or guiding a collective of people seems very significant for your current role right now in your life. And then we have starfish, which I feel like connects to some level of creativity and other, but I do want to verify that, actually. Hold on, let me go get the guidebook. Okay, so I went and got it. So we have wolf, guardian of family and tribe, activism, ritual. Interesting. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, and or teaching. I sprinted up those stairs. Or teaching religious or political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. I love that. Embrace all, exclude none. When in balance, reliable, democratic, fearless. When out of balance, judgmental, dominating. To bring into balance, practice letting go. I feel like letting go has been quite significant lately. I have recently kind of changed the layout of our tumbled crystal display at the spiritual store I work at, and going through every single tumbled and learning what crystal properties that specific crystal has and writing them down. I've really resonated with the letting go ones a lot. As I wrote it down, I took mental notes. So I feel like releasing things right now could be really big for you. I am a maximalist, if you can't tell, but I've finally realized that I too need to release some things. This could be just past energy in general, which is most of the time absorbed within old objects. This could even be clothes. I have a lot of clothes from when I was in high school, and I've changed quite a bit as a person since then. I held on to them more so because I had an attachment to that time. I wasn't really letting go of the fact that high school is over. I've grown up, I'm an adult, and I thought maybe one day I'd be able to fit in the clothes that I did when I had an ED. So I feel like letting go of things is really important to keep you moving forward. I want to try to become more minimalist. I want to be conscious of what I release when I move forward, and I feel like that could be really significant for you right now. I'm not saying if you're a maximalist to start going immediate minimalism, because I'm never gonna fully be a minimalist if you can't tell. This wall in front of me is even covered. But I do want to let go of things that hold energy that doesn't serve me anymore, that may keep me in a place of lower vibration where I'm busy worrying about my insecurities opposed to self-betterment, which you can actively choose. I feel like another thing the wolf kind of discussed is just having a sense of conservatism. And I say that not in a necessarily political sense, but maybe you are not as open to new things at this current time. This could even manifest as creature comforts, which again goes along with actually the moon phase in the 10th house, just kind of holding on to things that don't serve you anymore and almost hoarding all of this negativity and not being able to move on. There could be a relationship, a work connection, work in general, or just a aspect of your social and outward life that is kind of demolishing right now. And relationships can fall under that because everyone changes their Facebook status when they're in a connection. So I feel like how you are perceived by others will change a lot depending on what connection it is that you may specifically feel drawn to let go, or just whatever circumstance that you feel you need to move on from. The wolf kind of seems slightly closed-minded and a little stuck, and is kind of getting caught up in the holding on to the old opposed to moving on with the new, and in turn releasing negativity, and in turn also like leading a collective, which, as you know, a collective includes many different kinds of people with many different outlooks on life and perspectives. And in order to properly lead a group of people with vastly different views, I feel like you have to have some level of empathy and openness. So that could be something that you've really learned this month. Maybe you consider yourself to be quite an open person, and you're like, well, I don't necessarily resonate with that. I feel like I'm very open. I feel like I'm very progressive. I'm very aware, nuanced even. But I feel like there could be something that you may be looking from a place of ego or insecurity, which goes hand in hand, and you aren't willing to admit that has occurred almost. Maybe something that you've done that was directly a result of like, or just an impact that you've made that's a direct result of your actions. I feel we may not be conscious of how we come across to others, and how others take our responses aren't exactly, it shouldn't drive you. So like, say you give something to somebody, but the way that you gave it was interpreted by them as rude, even though you meant the utmost love. That could be a situation where you have to acknowledge that that's not how you were coming across, and that is something that they need to look inward for, because it could be an insecurity that is triggering them. So the same thing kind of goes for you. You could be misinterpreting situations and projecting feelings onto them that aren't there, and that could change the course of the actions that go forward with that, especially if this is in a job situation. Maybe there have been times where you didn't realize you were necessarily cold, but you could have been, and that could have caused a dispute that you've been struggling with throughout this past month. Obviously, this is very specific, so it doesn't have to connect with everyone. I do want to move forward, though, and read the starfish, because I definitely went on a bit of a tangent there. So that is what lesson and how you show up right now and or this past month. Now, next month, if you're watching this at the time I'm posting, is February, and you are going to be showing up as the starfish. So I love this. We have beautiful, alluring, superficial, or shallow. Interesting. The starfish is a natural and exquisite beauty, mesmerizing to all. Being around someone with starfish energy is a thrill, like you've been put under a spell of divinity itself. The problem is, these creatures have been reliant on how they look, and what other people think of them, for so long that they may have forgotten their deeper callings. When this card appears, it's important to ask, am I being swayed by outward appearances? What dreams have I put aside to please others? When in balance, uplifting, artistic, expressive. When out of balance, gossips, feels empty. To bring into balance, positive friends. So that is very interesting. I feel these are kind of two sides of a coin. We have the wolf energy, who tends to be slightly closed-minded and rhythmic, practical, routine-based, and that is for the betterment of the pack, whereas the starfish may be very open, but also very captivating and almost forgets the deeper compassion that they do things with. So this definitely goes hand in hand. I feel that maybe how we want others to perceive us, which is completely out of our control, because all you know is how you meant to show up, and that's all you can control. How others perceive us is something that holds people back in life, and it definitely held me back for a really long time. And if you can believe it, that's kind of why I want to do videos like this, where my face is kind of the main focus, because I've always been so insecure and really persuaded by how I look, how I'm perceived to an outside audience, right? And this could even just be going to the supermarket. I have to get ready and look good in order to go out in public, even though I owe nobody any of that. So you could be really struggling with this. Maybe you've been so stuck in your leadership mentality that you have to guide this collective of some degree, and you have forgotten that your appearance to them is kind of like, not a metaphor, but how they see you is the lessons you're imparting onto them. So if you show up as very put together, always perfect, untouchable, where it's like you show up, you have, you've done your hair, you put on cologne or fragrance of some sort, and you have kind of gotten ready, you have everything together, you seem very stoic, very just straight, normal. That leads an example that is the expectation and that is what needs to be upheld. When in reality, this could have just been toxic conditioning that you have been forced to believe and then go forward with your whole life. And by doing so, you're now implementing that toxic belief to larger crowds of people. When in reality, if you took a step back and didn't look how you didn't consider necessarily how you show up, didn't focus solely on making yourself look perfect and untouchable to these people, and instead became one of them, started dressing more laid back, started feeling more calm in your presentation, that will really change how this group perceives you, how this group perceives how they should turn out. You could resonate with being a teacher. This could be in college, or it could be even in elementary, middle school, high school. But whatever way you show up, you're very impressionable. I don't know if you know this, but you are. You make an impact where you go. And I feel like that could have to do with the star energy just being so mesmerizing to people. But whether you see it or not, your impact is large. And the more superficial and kind of perfect you try to become, it almost tarnishes the goal of what you're trying to set out. Like self-acceptance, self-love, connecting with one's authenticity, inner truth. I feel like if those are the things you're preaching, but you're showing up all put together very, I mean, stoic is a good thing, but rigid and confined and perfectionist, that almost counteracts the things you're trying to show as an example or teach or implement. So it's interesting to see such advanced lessons in this collective, but I really do like it. It's very intriguing. So I am going to get into your tarot. We have the Field Tarot today and the Uncommon Tarot, and I didn't really pick out which one I wanted to use first for what lessons you've currently learned. I think I might use the Field Tarot for the lessons you're currently learning, and then we'll use the Uncommon Tarot for what lessons you are going to be learning. I feel like that is very significant because the Field is very kind of like the wolf energy. It's very stoic, it's very put together, it is very simplistic. It's beautiful, I love it, but it doesn't have a lot going on, whereas the Uncommon Tarot is, as you'll see soon, very exciting, very vibrant, very colorful. It has a lot going on, a lot of like surrealism. It's really cool. So that gives me more starfish. This gives me more wolf, more rigid. And it's not a bad thing. I really love it. So, okay, let's see. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more, but I'm very intrigued to see what lessons you're learning this month, because it seems that you serve a higher purpose, whether you realize that or not, to a collective, and that could be immensely significant for you. And maybe the realization of this dynamic is what is going to push you forward into new lessons next month. So yeah, let's see. What lessons has my beautiful collective learned this past month? Interesting. We have the Eight of Swords, isolation in reverse. So maybe you've learned to ask for help, to stop isolating yourself, to stop trapping yourself outside of others, to finally open up to others and kind of show your vulnerability, especially with this wolf energy that, like, if you're 333, was on my thing right here, that feels significant. But especially if you are somebody that embodies the wolf energy. Interesting, 10 of Cups harmony on the bottom of the deck. But I feel it can be easy as a leader to get stuck in isolation, because to a degree you have to have a separation of yourself from your pack. That way you can easily lead and set an example. But what you're doing is being too drastic when it comes to separating yourself. You have to be somewhat intertwined in order to make a big impression and a lasting impression on your collective. So I feel that maybe allowing some area of vulnerability will greatly help you, because it'll humanize you. It'll make whatever this dynamic is see you as a person as well, who is empathetic, caring, loyal, dependable. I feel like those are very good qualities, but it can almost wash away when you're in isolation for too long, because that's a sense of closed offness. But I feel like that's something you're coming out of. That is something that's going to change. But don't take it to the drastic degree of the starfish and become superficial. It's interesting. Really hard dynamic to balance, though. Let's see, what else? What else did we learn? What else did my beautiful collective learn? We have the devil. Interesting. So maybe you've had to face up to a lot of toxic patterns that have come in your life. This could be in terms of addictions, having a toxic repetitive pattern that you continue to fall into. This could be drinking, going and partying, or just physical endeavors, The devil just speaks of what things are holding us back based off of fear. How are we not progressing forward because addictions, fear, or negative embodiments are weighing us down? It challenges us to see these, if truthfully, for what they are, unbeneficial and toxic habits. Hematite and amethyst are very good crystals for this, because not only do they ground you and give you a sense of calm, they also bring about attention to toxic habits that you may have. That could be any addiction, any kind of addiction, even to your phone. That could be significant. And maybe this past month has challenged you to see these things. Maybe this is why you've been so isolated, because of these addictions. This could just be addiction even to self-isolation. So I feel like that would make sense for me, for sure. I definitely am bad with isolating myself, if you guys can't tell by my upload schedule, but I just get really overwhelmed, I think. And I think we all do. So what else are we learning this current month, or did we learn this month? Oop. Yep, I was like, I think that's the Three of Cups, and it is. So I feel like you've learned to celebrate and become one with your counterparts and or friends, family, people that are really important in your life. I feel that we also have Prince of Discs, Prince of Pentacles, reliability on the bottom of the deck. But I feel like you've learned to celebrate the small things, to come into union with your friends more often, and just ask for help more, be more vulnerable, show up more authentically as yourself. And maybe even you have celebrated with your friends like a recovery from an addiction, or just something that you've accomplished at work, because people tend to get caught up in themselves and not realize that what they do for their job is actually going above and beyond. And celebrating the small wins is huge. Maybe you got a raise this month that you finally were like, okay, I deserve to celebrate myself for this. It can be really hard when you lead a group to actually celebrate yourself, because you're so busy and caught up in this group that you neglect yourself. But to celebrate yourself is to be a good influence on others. That celebration is what gets us through and continues. It's how we function and how we acknowledge that we've achieved something. So I think recognizing the small wins, even if that's just getting out of bed in the morning, is really important for you, because sometimes that can be the hardest thing. What else does my beautiful collective learn this month? Ooh, quite a bit. Interesting. I have 8 of Wands, movement, and 7 of Cups, choices in reverse. Interesting. So the 8 of Wands is one of the fastest moving cards in tarot, and we have the moon on the bottom of the deck. Very interesting. So, the 7 of Cups talks about choices, but also illusions. And especially with it being in reverse and the moon being on the bottom of the deck, you could kind of be quickly seeing a lot of illusions in your life right now. This could just be in terms of, again, toxic relationships that don't serve you. I don't necessarily feel like there's a lot of choices here, but I feel like, if anything, you're narrowing down choices fast. A lot of these lessons are coming in quickly, kind of catching you off guard and then moving on. And it can be really just all over the place and chaotic going through that energy, like having things move so fast, but also be so overwhelming. I feel like life does move fast. Ferris Bueller said it. Sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses and be in the present, because life will pass us by. And I feel like that's something you're really learning this month. You're learning that friendship is really important. You deserve to celebrate yourself. staying in these toxic habits will continue with you over time. And in order to dispel them, you need to look at them straightforward and, act and make a difference, because life is going to keep moving, whether you stop or do something or not. And these toxic habits could really affect your long-term life. I feel like even if it's just emotional, it will affect your quality of life too. And I feel like that's something you're realizing. You're also realizing that having too many decisions can be really overwhelming and difficult. But once you start to narrow them down and really focus on one-on-one situations, I feel like that will be very successful for you, and it will just overall feel really good. It'll give you the validation you need, but also remind you that you are only human and you deserve to have a little fun, a little laughter. I also encourage you, if you have any leadership roles or want to better your leadership qualities, to get green aventurine. It is very good for prosperity, luck, abundance, but it can also remind us to stay humorous about the current life that we live and also embody leadership qualities. I feel like to have humor is a good balance with being a leader, because you can't take life so seriously or you are going to be miserable, and in turn probably make your collective very miserable too. So I feel like maybe that could be pretty significant, to just remember to laugh and lessen the tension that you may feel. Now I want to get to see what lessons you're going to learn. That's the fun part here, because I know I've been learning lessons, and February is an interesting month. It is a lot of the times depicted as the month of love, but in my personal experience, no. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully this resonates. If it does, let me know in the comments below. I try to respond to all of my comments, so if I don't, just know that it's not on purpose. It's just because I'm probably very busy. But yeah, I think taking a break is really good and needed, especially for you, because you seem to work really hard as well. I think we both could use a break, and the acknowledgement that we need one, because sometimes that's the hardest part as well. So let's see. What lessons are we learning in February? Or just this next month, if this is, not anywhere near February for you. This could be in the summer, who knows? But let's see. Alchemist. Interesting. And that's not the Magician, it's Temperance in reverse. So I feel like patience is really big, which is interesting because things are moving really fast, but you may be caught up in trying to control time and try to make it move faster for yourself, so that way you can reach the success quicker. But I feel like you need to come from a place of patience, grace towards yourself, and love towards yourself, because this is probably going to be a long-term affair. Whatever it is that you're pursuing, it's not really going to be quick, and the journey is one of the most important parts. The Temperance card is usually depicted by a woman pouring water into water, and that is supposed to mean fulfillment, gratitude, just healing overall, and a place of abundance. And abundance is a mindset. How you view yourself really will change everything. So if you come from a place of, I have love to give, but I only have so much, that is going to be severely limiting to you. It is going to make you more aware of where you're pouring your love, which can be really beneficial, but it can also be bad, because that can make you stop pouring a certain amount of love. It can make you feel like you're doing this from a place of having to opposed to wanting to, which greatly changes how that love is actually perceived. You may mean it to be love, but if you're coming from a place of having to love, it kind of loses its meaning entirely, because now that person is just feeling like this is something that you feel required to do, opposed to it coming naturally. Whereas if you looked at it from a place of you have a lot to give, you have infinite amount of things to give, it will overflow your love, and it'll be more impactful and meaningful to the people that you do choose to give to. Coming from a place of abundance, of overwhelm, of overflow can be really beneficial for us. Letting those emotions pass Crying could be really significant. Release of tension could be very significant for you, especially coming forward in this next month. And even if you don't have a lover, I feel like that will come to you, but you have to love yourself first. That cannot be negotiable whatsoever. It's actually non-negotiable. Maybe that's something, like I said, boundaries could be really significant for you, but like self-love has to happen before you can really do anything else, honestly. Like if you don't love yourself, how can you expect someone else to? Like, and people will love you always, no matter how you view yourself, but it also kind of shows how you expect to be treated as well. If you don't love yourself, then that shows you don't value yourself, and the things that you say or do could be perceived as less valuable. That doesn't mean that they are, but I'm just saying that could be a perception from others. Interesting. Just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So let's see, what else are we learning next month? What else are we learning next month? Interesting. Again, we have Wanderer, the Fool. But it came out in reverse. So I'll show her upright because she's really pretty. I love this deck. But it's interesting that the Fool would come out in reverse. 2 major arcanas in reverse. You could be really hesitating to start a new beginning, and maybe that's a lesson that you're learning, is that you kind of have to just jump into it. You can't hesitate. This new beginning is going to be really positive and beneficial for you, but holding back and stepping away from the cliff isn't going to make the cliff go away. It's just going to prolong the jump to or off of the cliff. So you could be doing that. You could be really avoiding change, which is, again, interesting because the moon in the 10th house is all about change, stepping into this discomfort. Or maybe that was the sun in Aquarius in the 6th house. It might have been the 6th house, but it's about confronting discomfort, acting from a place of service, and that could be towards yourself. I just feel that there's a significance in holding back here, and you're being taught to not do so. And that could be why all these choices have been in reverse too, because you haven't been open to receiving them, so they can't come in yet. You have the 2 of Pentacles. I feel like balance is going to be really important this month. It was in reverse, but I feel inclined to leave it upright, so I'm going to. But the 2 of Pentacles just really talks about balance of yin and yang, divine masculine and feminine, and just the ebbs and flows of life, balancing that. That could be heartbreak with happiness, fulfillment. This could be balancing material values like money or just stability, the home life. You could be moving next month. There could just be really big changes in your stability and your structure next month, which is really interesting. So let's see what else. But yeah, you could be really balancing your shadow and light self too, which is interesting because I felt significant to pull from the dark mirror oracle, so I'm excited to do so. We have the 10 of Wands, but it's in reverse. So interesting. The 10 of Wands is usually depicted by somebody who has a lot of sticks on their back, and it's becoming excruciating and hard to move. I feel that maybe you are going to unfortunately learn the hard way that the more things you pile on, the more of other people's burdens that you take on for yourself, the slower you'll be able to progress and the more held back you will feel. Whereas if you learn to step into next month being conscious of how much you sign yourself up for, being conscious that you deserve rest and you deserve a break, and being conscious that you are one person who can only take on so much, I feel that will be really beneficial for you to prevent this possible crash out, for lack of a better word, but let's also go with burnout. I feel like burnout can happen next month if you keep taking on all of these outside burdens and responsibilities that were never supposed to be yours to begin with. You can't learn lessons for other people. They have to learn those lessons themselves, and they will, but if you keep taking on all of their lessons and learning them for them, they're never going to learn, and things are going to be stagnant for a while. So try to look at it from a place of you are doing them good. You are. Even if that's stepping back, it's helping. It is. So what's one more? Okay. We have the Six of Coins. Interesting. I think that it's covered enough that I can show this, hopefully. But the Six of Pentacles comes from a place of gratitude. We also have the Page of Cups on the bottom of the deck. That one I can't show. That one I do have to censor, but so pretty. But the Six of Cups is a place of generosity, of giving. There could be somebody who sees your situation and provides for you this coming month. A lot of gratitude, a lot of overflow. Again, that overflow mindset might be really beneficial for you. So if you try to step into next month thinking from a place of overflow, you will be abundant and be able to give back. Again, I believe that it was the sixth house, finding service to others and serving the greater good of the community. I feel that having a place of overflow will make you more abundant and open to receive generosity, but also to give out generosity. So that seems really significant for you, just this generosity idea as a whole. Being thankful, being able to come from a place of overflow and give just unapologetically and naturally, I feel is going to be really beneficial for you this coming month. And it might just be a lesson that you learn to show up this way. Obviously, my reading can help you kind of approach it, but every situation has its own level of nuance and just separation. So take it how it resonates, however this applies to you. So we are getting deep into this. It's basically 40 minutes already, I think. So it could be even longer than that. I'm sorry, but we are going really full force into this, aren't we? So I'm going to be a little quick with the rest of the messages, only because I do have plans today. But I tend to fill my schedule, which I've done. So that is why I have not been able to upload as frequently, so you could really be learning the same lessons I'm learning, actually. I feel like that's really big in the collective right now, just all of these lessons that keep coming in. Let's see if I can shuffle this bad boy. Oh, nope, not at all. This is a huge deck. I don't know if you saw something fly like I did, but I have no idea what that was. Oop. The whole deck. Again. I really wanted this to be like a pretty structured layout for the picture, but it's not going to be. Life is chaos and I can't control it. All right. The one that fell was 724, Travel. I'm going to put it back because I don't know if it's the one for us yet, but we'll find out if it comes out. So what does my beautiful collective need to know for guidance to help them through these situations? What do they need to know as guidance to help them through these situations? What do they need? We have 144, Connect. Communicate with the divine. Your angels are urging you to make a connection with the divine in your daily life. They want to strengthen your ability to communicate on a high vibrational level. Sit in meditation right now with your hands on your crown chakra, the top of your head, and envision yourself opening up to the wisdom of the divine. So there could be messages that they're trying to communicate with you right now actively, and I feel like taking a moment in silence could be very significant for you. Any kind of divination work, and don't feel like you have to do this per se. Like, your connection with the divine is however it's supposed to be. So whatever resonates for you that makes you feel more connected, that's what I would do. But if you don't have time, I don't know, it's hard because saying you don't have time is not making room for yourself. And this kind of is making room for yourself. So I would try to incorporate it into your life, trying to just connect with the divine, pay attention to signs, repeating numbers that may show up around your life at this time. 444 and 333 are big. We have 345, baby steps, and 346, skipping steps. Interesting. So we'll do baby steps. 345. Little by little, it will get done. The overwhelm you feel is not unnoticed by your angels. They ask you to reconfigure your perspective, and instead of focusing on the big picture, look at the immediate next step. Organize your thought on paper now, and write down what your baby steps will be in the forthcoming days. So, being patient with yourself, having grace with yourself, realizing that you are only one human being that can only do so much is going to be really significant for you. Kind of like it said, taking baby steps, taking things slower, not being super overwhelmed with the bigger picture of things, like really celebrating the small wins. Say you want to have like 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, but you only get to like 300,000. That's a lot. Or maybe that was more. 10,000? Sure. But that is still a lot of people. That is still a lot of people that are watching you, that are following you, that like you and are happy to be with you. That little step could make a big difference, and that'll open you up to gratitude, opening you up to receive even more, and coming from a place of abundance. So maybe try not to keep looking outside of things and just focus on the smaller details. And it's funny because we have skipping steps 346. Details are important. You are moving at a faster speed than most lately, and your angels are reminding you to make sure you aren't skipping any necessary steps. Circle back today to a recent situation and make absolutely sure you did not miss any details or processes that could cause an issue later. So we did get the 8 of Wands movement. So things are moving really quickly for you, but I feel like maybe you're getting caught up in that motion. You're letting it kind of control you instead of coming from a place of taking slow, making sure you check everything off the list. Very practical. Routine. I know we were kind of saying to get out of structure-based things, but if it benefits you, like completing homework assignments in a specific order for college, like I feel making sure you've done everything first before you submit anything. This could even be for your job, like a PowerPoint for something you have to teach people. Make sure you go through every step first. Burping is significant for releasing negative energy, so I feel like your spirits or your guides, whatever you call it, are telling you to not only try to take a moment to connect with them, but also to connect with yourself. Maybe you need to be grounded into the present in order to stop this movement from going too fast. It could catch you off guard and make you slip and fall. So try to take little baby steps as best you can. Obviously, there are some situations where it feels like everything is pinned against you, especially time frame wise, and you just have to get things out. But just make sure taking that extra step to sit with everything and make sure you've done everything correctly is going to be really helpful, especially in terms of schoolwork for college, because those deadlines are very strict. So just taking that extra step to be in the moment is going to be really beneficial. I want to see what crystal could be significant for you at this time as well with the Crystal Mandala Oracle. So let's see. I will split her in half. Perfect. I love that all of my decks smell like sage now because I cleansed them all. It's so nice. But let's see, what crystal could be very beneficial for you at this time? What crystal? That was very fast. Okay, someone's calling. 1 second. So I have actually more time than I anticipated. That was my friend. So phone calls could be a really significant occurrence for you at this time. But for the for the crystal we got, I wrote this down in my book actually for crystals that I resonated with a lot. So I might actually read from there. But we have Goddess Sekhmet. So sorry. And Fiery Gate. Passion of the Lion Heart, Crystal Goddess 888. I think that's so pretty. So fire agate could be something really significant for you. Again, getting a lot of grounding energy, getting a lot of root, solar plexus, and sacral chakra. Honestly, all of your chakras could be huge right now. Just how you perceive yourself, how you root yourself in the present, how you show up creatively, and how you speak your truth could be immensely significant for you at this time. Let's see what I wrote down in my little journal for fire agate. This is very interesting. I have a lot of art. Yeah, fire agate. Calming, grounding, security, and safety. It returns harm to its sender so that the source understands the harm it is doing. Rough quote is what I said because I was quoting the Crystal Bible. Really good book, by the way. Aids in sexual endeavors, fires up base chakra and stimulation of vitality on all levels, reduces hot flashes, aids stomach nervousness, and endocrine systems. Interesting. So you could be having some tummy troubles and need some Firegate in your life if you resonate with that. But that is very interesting. So a lot of grounding. Yeah, a lot of grounding is coming through over and over and over again. I feel like that's really significant at this time. And I am going to read the description for the card I pull out of the Dark Mirror Oracle. So let's see. What do you need to know about your shadow self at this time in terms of what lessons you are learning? So what do you need to know based off of the current lessons that you are learning? Let's see. What does your shadow self have to say? We have alone in the world, 6. So you could feel like you are alone in whatever it is that you're struggling with, but just know that you're not, and there are many people around you that want to support you. You just have to ask for help first. Again, that showing up and being vulnerable could be something that you're healing a lot right now, because you could have been taught a lot of your life that asking for help is not okay. You might have been the rock in many people's lives and didn't really have any rocks to keep you afloat and stable. So this could be a very hard lesson that you're learning right now, but also a very important one, especially in terms of yourself and your love towards yourself. So let's see. Wow, that was quick. Okay. 6, alone in the world. Moon phase, 3rd quarter. Stage, acceptance. In solitude I stand, in solitude I may shine. Visual seed. Under the morning light, in a closed silent court, paved with stones, laced by trees, a beautiful woman sits naked on a precious bench. Many blankets or drapes are around her, in color red and white like disregarded wings. Sentence. I made my home a cloister, my heart a chalice for the finest breeze, and yet I stand alone. Interesting. Going dark. Waiting for something to come back. When we parted ways, we promised to each other, I will wait for you, and I will come back. We may have used different words like, it's just for a few months, or a sharper pen like, I don't need you. Still, we are waiting. Mind has lost hope, body has lost memory, but our heart is still incomplete. It is shrined into a blessed feeling of longing and desire, innocence and hope. But it is also entombed into a well of solitude and distance. It builds walls to stall the passage of time, and the walls kept out everything. Will the prince come, or has the world gone silent while we waited? Waiting is a transition. It has a beginning and it has an end. Waiting is the night. Morning brings the sun of a new day. So I feel like you could feel like you've been waiting for someone or something to occur and it hasn't. And that can definitely be very lonely. I understand that. I really do. But sometimes waiting just holds us in a stagnant place where we're not able to move forward, we're not able to overcome, and we're not able to accept new things that may serve us better than whatever it is that we're currently waiting for. I feel like this could definitely be a romantic relationship of some sorts that you're kind of waiting to catch up with you, but you may be really realizing that they're not going to catch up with you. Maybe you guys had a soul contract and it was completed, and that soul contract could be as simple of just teaching you that you need to have boundaries with yourself. That could be very significant. I feel solitude is definitely good for healing, recuperation, and coming back, your truest self, but it can also get very delayed and stagnant and difficult. So I feel that this transition period is very important for you, but I feel it is going to be over soon, very soon, in fact. Checking through, making sure everything's okay. This one is very interesting because it comes from a place of love, so you could just have this underlying wish that someone's going to come with you, and you've heard nothing, but you continue to wait, and it's limiting you and your progress forward because the person you could be manifesting could be literally right on the other side of whatever this completion energy is. And you waiting and staying stagnant and not moving forward is preventing this person that you've been manifesting to come in. This might not be the same person you're waiting for, but it is somebody that you need and that you deserve. So try to keep that in mind. I know it's not easy, but you are very strong, very elegant, and very graceful. And a lot of people look up to you, but you need to be just a little bit kinder to yourself. Have a little bit more openness to receive this abundance that is going to come into your life. And I feel like next month is going to be very significant for you, especially with the 2 major arcanas. Did I not get another? Oh no, I did. Okay. It was the 2 of coins. But yeah, I feel like giving can be really good, but it can also be detrimental from us. Trying to keep a perspective of overflow will help you give more naturally without feeling like it is going against everything that you are and need. And I feel that not taking on other people's burdens or just overdoing yourself to the point where you have no rest, no time to sit down and connect with the divine is going to be very detrimental to your health. I think that preventing this burnout as best you can, obviously with the ability you have, will be very significant to whatever stage is happening in your life now. But I think that things are going to be okay. I'm really hopeful for you. Let me know in the comments if this resonated. Before we end the video today, I think I'm going to do a little bell cleansing just to kind of cleanse this bad, or not bad, but heavy and stagnant energy that we're currently in. This will hopefully help you to kind of wake up a little bit and feel just a little bit more clear and less heavy. So if you have earbuds, please turn them down. But it feels really good. Okay, I think that is all that I have for you today. I hope that you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Don't forget to drink water. I love you, and bye.